Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Berlin. Welcome to the 19th International Hotel Investment Forum. You know, it's really hard to believe if you look back, 19 years ago, who would have imagined that we could be here with over 2,000 delegates from 72 countries, over 780 companies represented here. That's why we say that IHIF is truly the meeting of global collaboration. It brings the world together. It's, of course, the place where deals are done. And for those of you that might be making announcements, that are planning to make announcements, or happen to make a deal right here on the spot, we'd like to encourage you to let the staff know at the registration desk. We always like to make those announcements from right up here on the stage. But it truly is, the place for global collaboration and the place where deals are done. But IHIF is not just about deal making. It's not just about valuation or finance and investing. It's really a total information solution for management, for technology, for design, for distribution. Whatever your needs are here in the industry, you can find an expert, you can find a colleague, you can find industry leaders who are willing to share their time and share information with you, valuable information and valuable insights. And of course, IHIF is also the place to network. It's the place to meet with all of the experts in the industry. And two things that I'd like to encourage you to make sure you write down in your diaries for the day. Number one, don't miss the Networking Express sessions at 5:30 in the Charlottenburg room. The Networking Express sessions, a very, very rapid way for you to get to know everybody who's here at the conference, particularly those of you that are here for the first time. We'd like to encourage you to make sure you take advantage of the Networking Express. And then tonight, at our opening reception, we're really, really pleased that Puneet Chadwal and his team from Steigenberger are hosting an amazing reception. We're told that they've been working very, very diligently. They've got something spectacular planned for us. That's always a tradition here at IHIF, the opening reception. But it should be a great, great networking event. We encourage you to take advantage of that as well. But IHIF, of course, is not just about the networking either. It's also about the great content, the great information, the great speakers. This year we have over 200 speakers, leaders from the industry and experts, of course, all of them. And one of the things I think that's truly unique about this program is the way that it comes together. IHIF, the conference, is actually the product itself of a global collaboration. And really reflecting that is the vast number of people who are involved in putting this event together. So of course, we have to give special thanks to all of the moderators, the panelists, and the speakers, all 200 of you who are here to share your insights and your wisdom and your information and your humor with us as well. Of course, a very, very special thanks to all of our patrons and sponsors, without whose support this event really could not be possible. We thank you all for your generous contributions and your generous support of the industry and of this conference. Of course, we'd like to thank all of you who came from those 72 countries, all the delegates, over 2,000 of you who have come from a very, very far and wide. Literally, we cover every corner of the globe. I'm told this year that there are some very, very special people here in the audience who actually had to make a very extra effort to attend IHIF. They used a very unique mode of transport to get here, and we'll be hearing about that in just a few minutes from my colleague and friend Jonathan. But I'd like to thank all the delegates, of course, and also a very special thanks to our advisory board. Our advisory board is really the think tank for IHIF. We get together every year at the EHL down in Lausanne. We thank the school as well for hosting us. But the advisory board really puts a lot of time and energy and thought into guiding the conference and guiding what is on the industry's mind. Of course, there's a lot on our minds this year. 2015 has really been a remarkable year. Despite all of the headwinds that were out there, macroeconomic headwinds, geopolitical headwinds, overall the travel sector grew around 3.5%, which is above global GDP growth. So that's a good thing. And of course, that led to really strong operating fundamentals for the hospitality industry. Good, obviously, very, very wide differences from region to region, but generally speaking, a very, very strong year. And that, of course, has continued to provide the backdrop for a very strong, transaction environment. Very high volume of transactions, certainly, numerous mega deals, And of course, one in particular that would stand out as being a mega deal amongst, mega deals, the Marriott Starwood transaction. So it's really been quite a remarkable year. But here at IHIF, we tend not to focus too much in the rearview mirror, as we say. We try and look forward and try and assess really what's coming. And in order to do that, I think we've got a number of questions, a number of key questions that we hope to address at this year's conference. First and foremost, given the overall environment, what's the path to successful financing? Getting the transaction done and getting that successful financing. You'll hear a lot about that. Which markets and which categories are going to produce the best investment returns and growth over the coming year? What's really going on in the world of brands and what's really driving brand proliferation? How will distribution play out? We've got a very interesting panel and a number of workshops as well that are talking on this very, very timely subject. What about cross-border investment? That's certainly been a lot of the fuel that's gone into fueling transactions over the course of the last several years. What's going to happen with cross-border investment? And how about consolidation? We hear a lot about consolidation, right? What's going on and what's behind the consolidation. But the other trend that's somewhat contrary to that is the trend towards specialization. Those two somewhat countervailing trends are really quite interesting, and we explore that here in depth. And what about entrepreneurial innovation? That really is the heart of this industry, and we celebrate that in many, many ways. We explore that here in the program, and we celebrate that through a variety of networking events and awards actually here at IHIF. And most of all, I think the key question on our mind as we look ahead to the future is what about disruption? We keep hearing a lot about the word disruption. How is that affecting the industry? How is it likely to affect the industry as we go forward? So these are some very, very interesting themes, I think, that are probably on all of your minds, and we hope through our wonderful program to be able to address here this year. And for a look at how these questions will be addressed in the program, it's my pleasure actually to introduce my friend and colleague, Mr. Jonathan Worsley, who's here to share a little bit about this year's program with us. Jonathan?
Great, thank you, Carrie. Thank you for that great introduction. Thank you for that introduction, that video. Fantastic. It's so nice to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being part of this conference. 19 years. It's quite extraordinary. It's like our little baby that we've grown over the years from when we first started this event. And we really love this conference, and we do love this industry. There's just so much going on. There's just a creative brainstorm going on at the moment. And the disruptors are disrupting, as Carrie said, but the disrupted now are disrupting the disruptors. And let's all be disruptors and make our industry better. When we were at EHL, thank you EHL, as Carrie mentioned, for our advisory board meeting, we decided to head off on a cycle trip around Lake Geneva to do a bit more brainstorming and also train for our cycle trip from Amsterdam to Berlin, of which I have many of my cyclists here today. And we came up with some great topics. We'll get over to that in a second. We came up with all these great topics, and I'm not going to go through them in detail. You're going to see our speakers on stage in a minute. But what I'm particularly proud about are the new speakers that we have, the new companies that are participating on our panels during the next 2 days. And we've got new speakers like Hotel Swaps, Triptease, Snapshot, Rumor, Skyscanner, One Fine Stay, and BMate, for an example. So all on sessions, and will they be the next Google or the next Booking.com or the next Expedia? They also will be speaking during the conference. We also talked about Asian capital as being a big theme as well. I'm delighted to have more Chinese and Asian investors on panels throughout the conference. We've got Gillian Lull from CBRE Hotels. She's going to be moderating a session tomorrow morning on Asian capital, so we're delighted to have her. We also have, as part of our theming, global collaboration, we've got countries participating from Italy, where we've got some mega projects going on in Italy, some interesting opportunities in that market. We also have a session on Germany. We've got a session on Iran. I can see my friends from Iran here, and that's a very exciting market, 70 million population, very few brands. We've seen that Melia Hotels and Accor have now gone into that market. We also have our friends from Morocco, Indonesia, and also Brazil. They have very cleverly decided to host a reception after their panel session tomorrow at 5:30. I think we're going to see more of this. I can see next year that everybody's going to be holding receptions, cocktails after their breakout sessions. So I would definitely encourage that. I'm going to be hosting a session called PYP, Present Your Project. We did this last year for the first time. We had 8 projects, as we do this year. I know for a fact that 2 of those projects struck a deal from that Present Your Project. That's going to be taking place on Wednesday morning. And we also have another Present Your project, which is called Networking Project Express. It's all a bit convoluted, but anyway, we've got 25 projects on that session. That's tomorrow afternoon, so it gives you a time to go around 3 minutes at each table to look at these projects. So do make sure you check those out. Slight change in the program this afternoon. Merrick from Aston Martin, head designer, Merrick Reichman, is not able to participate on the session this afternoon, but he is participating on the luxury panel tomorrow. And it's great to have someone like him outside the industry participating in the conference. Right, so when we had the Mediterranean Resort Real Estate Hotel Investment Conference last year for the first time in Madrid, it was a great success. Raj Chandani, who is from WHE&G, was our keynote speaker, and he said cycling is the new golf. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank my fellow cyclists, because a group of us, 10 of us, as I think many of you know, decided to save on carbon emissions. Instead of flying, we thought it would make sense to bike to Berlin from Amsterdam. So we did that. And it was great. We had 10 cyclists, 9 nationalities. We had 3 individuals from Saudi Arabia, from Bahrain, from Abu Dhabi. I don't think they really realized how bloody cold it was. When we left from Amsterdam, it was freezing. We had hail, we had rain. It was not fun. I fell off my bike on the first corner going around after we left the Anne Frank house, which was highly embarrassing, and I discovered that has been videoed, and they thought, well, how the hell are these guys going to make it? We covered over 500,000 kilometers, and our age group was between 25 and 65, so a great age group. And I would like my fellow cyclists to stand up right now, and we should show a round of applause for their great effort. Excellent. Thank you, John. That was so much fun. Dr. Bader, Yusuf, change that bike next year, Yusuf. We've raised £18,500 for 2 charities, Future Talent and the Anne Frank Foundation, which are 2 amazing charities that we're working with. We're trying to get over the 20,000. That was our objective. So we'd be delighted, and if you haven't yet sponsored us, and those of you who have, thank you very much. But if you go to the Virgin Giving website and just type in my name, Worsley, you will find the place to donate to our charity. So thank you very much for that.